Today's games are brought to you by AE Engine Media Marketing, AmericanEagle.com, Bag Tags, Bubba Burger, Bullseye CMYK, Cliff Kid, Expand-A-Brand, Front Rush, Fusionetics, Dick's Sporting Goods. Today's games are also brought to you by Major League Soccer, Nestle Nesquik, Nike, NSCAA, Positive Coaching Alliance, Premier International Tours, U.S. Soccer, Wilson Trophy Company, and Yokohama. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Frisco, Texas, just outside of Dallas and home of the U.S. Youth Soccer National Championships. I'm Todd Panula, and I'm here to bring you all of today's exciting U19 and 20 girls group action, as it's going to be an interesting match between FC Kansas City Forte Elite and CR Academy, otherwise known as the Carolina Rapids. FC Kansas City, obviously hailing from Kansas City. They will be from the Missouri side. Carolina Rapids hailing from Cornelius, North Carolina. They are headed by Coach Nathan Williams, and leading FC Kansas City Elite is both Goran Karadzov and Vasil Ristov. So Kansas City is going to be in their all whites, heading left to right. And we're underway. FC Kansas City in control here in the early going as they started off with possession, and they're trying to hold on to it. Carolina Rapids looking to put on a little bit of pressure as that pass goes awry. Coming over here to the near side is Carolina trying to establish a little bit of their own control. And it's a back and forth affair as they try to work it over towards the far side. FC Kansas City in control, give it away as it's kind of a back and forth affair here in the early going. McGarry had it stolen away from behind as she tried to get a little cute with the little flick around the defender, but that was well spotted. Now Sullivan, she's got Stein making the run, but the pass was not where it needed to be. Carolina looking to filter one through, and it's McGarry sending it over towards the far sideline. Putting on the afterburners is Serepka. The shot! And a good save by Palacio. Intercepted at the midfield, but then given right back. Here comes FC Kansas City. Coming up with a little bit of speed is Ginther. She puts it in towards the box, but no further. Carolina in control now on the foot of Von Klaar. She sends it up the right-hand wing. Von Klaar calling for it again. Again, kind of that back and forth stage here in the early going. Neither team really able to establish themselves yet. Pushed along the left-hand side for Kansas City. Instead, it's Carolina coming up with it. Powell had it taken away from her. Served into the box. Here comes a shot. But it was always going to swing away from goal with the right-footed attempt from that far side. You need to kind of aim towards the middle of the goal, maybe even more towards the near post if you're going to try to curl it from there. Either that or really get it sweetly struck with the shoelaces. Carolina trying to put on some pressure here. Palacio forced to do something with it, as now everybody backing off. She's going to go short with it here, the defender. A little bit of space, and now FC Kansas City just kind of content to try to work it along the backside, make Carolina use up a little bit of their energy here. Delaying too long on that crossing attempt, and bailed out just a bit is Farkas, a Michigan product, or attendee, I should say. She will be a Wolverine. But she was eyeing up the run here on the near side by Nina Stein, and just took too long to get it there. Now they find Stein going towards the corner flag. Thought about a give and go. Instead, they work it around just outside the 18-yard box. Now for Sullivan. Puts on the brakes, brings it back. Mann all the way back, looking for a return pass for Mann, and instead Carolina's off to the races. But too direct here. And these teams, this is kind of a far cry from what we saw in our previous game on this field. Highlander Field here at Toyota Stadium. Between Team Chicago and WSA from Group B. This is Group A action, but both sides kind of keeping an eye on each other. But in that one, we were still coming into the morning hours, late morning hours, so there was still a bit of coolness, which is kind of evaporated. But the teams kind of settled into the game nicely, but just a nice easy flow. This one seems to be spurts here, spurts there, which kind of tends to sap your energy a little bit too much at times. So we'll have to see how much these girls have left towards the end. Obviously, you're going to have hydration breaks in between. Still got quite a while to go before that, as we're only a little over 7 minutes in. Lobbed up towards the penalty spot. Flick on, but not quite on target from Mary Givens. Once again, FC Kansas City going to go short off the goal kick. That seems to be what they want to do, is they want to build things slowly. Not afraid to go back and forth and use the keeper in possession. Palacio to the far side. Almost given away by Small. Now up for Deaver. Stolen away. McGarry trying to put it into a good area. Not really sure what the idea was from Noel there. As she had a little bit of space up front, perhaps coming from more of a midfield area. She's not quite used to getting in, streaking in, I should say, on the attack like that. Almost intercepted, and now it is Ginther sliding one through to the near side. Stein trying to put on the brakes. But good defending there to get enough of that ball to thwart that attack. Now Carolina trying to get something going here on the near sideline. Bringing it in is Faith Adams. Adams taking it towards the edge of the 18. Powell trying to spin around. Powell steps over the ball. Adams even more center as they have to kind of push the reset. Von Klaar. Sent up by Horacion. And now Kansas City with a bit of space. Farkas was calling for it, but that one's going to have too much on it. Von Klaar having to come back as neither team seems to want to go long with their goal kicks. Perhaps the wind coming into play a little bit there. Not necessarily as much for FC Kansas City as the wind is mostly at their back. Here comes Adams getting around one defender, trying to play it in. She will gain the corner kick as Fisher was juked out just a little bit, but Sullivan came over and helped out. That one dealt with by the defender, and then Ginther able to send it away. Deaver trying to track it down over on the far sideline. She'll keep it in. Carolina Rapids take control there. Von Klaar, Deaver able to steal it away, and now here's Farkas with Small. And now Stein ringing up the near sideline. Stein putting it towards goal, parried away. Stein with another opportunity, going back for Deaver. And now Deaver is fouled. That doesn't make too many of the Carolina fans all that happy. So now a call for 10 yards. It's going to delay the restart just a little bit. We've got Farkas, Sullivan, Stein, as well as Mann, and a couple others all ready to make a run in here. Ginther going towards it as well. It's over the head of Stein. That one goes up and over, but I don't think it would have mattered. The official called for a push. So a good effort there for FC Kansas City. They came close to putting it on target, even if it didn't really matter much. Those are the kind of moments where psychologically, despite the fact even if it goes in, even if it doesn't, you know that you can get to certain balls. And that ultimately ends up helping out quite a bit. Trying to spring the counter-attack up top to Srepka. Looking now for Knoll. He's able to get it to Srepka. Driving up the right-hand side. Right into the defender. And ultimately cleared away. Just slipping underneath the foot of Farkas. Carolina a little bit more determined here in the last few minutes, but they've been a little bit more deliberate with their plays as well. Working the wings now as they give it up to Gibbons. She's bothered by Stein. Beautiful little through ball, but then the run didn't quite follow. Givens going for it again, and now it's going to be a free kick. Apparently the official had attempted to let advantage be played because it's going to be a little more to the left than it looked like when the whistle was actually blown. But a very good position right now for Carolina to try to take this one. And similarly to our previous contest, the game slightly more important to FC Kansas City as they lost yesterday. Now here comes McGarry taking the shot. That goes off the crossbar. A fantastically placed shot, but it just would not dip enough, perhaps caught up in the wind a little bit. And you like what you've seen from FC Kansas City overall here in the first 15 minutes or so. But they have to find that finishing ball as they are currently -3 in the goal difference and no points after day one. Carolina Rapids, obviously named for the Colorado team, sharing a similar logo as well. And they kind of have things a little bit more under control in terms of their own destiny, winning 2-0 yesterday over Elite Girls Academy. Powell and Givens were the goal scorers in a 2-0 win. Now here comes Stein trying to get it up to Farkas, but stepping in front was Molly McGarry, who's kind of been a do-it-all player so far for the Rapids. Touching it around to the far side from the corner, trying to drive that in along the end line. Deaver with an attempt at it. Carolina still getting a piece of it. Bonclar. Up the far wing, looking for Adams. Adams pushing. Adams again, after receiving it back from Powell. Sent in towards the box, and that's not going to trouble anybody. Palacio right there. Palacio, a Missouri State Bear. As there was some miscommunication over on the far side as that one evaded Brianne Severns. Kept alive by Knoll. FC Kansas City was trying to let it roll out. Might end up costing them. Sent in by McGarry, who had once again made her way all the way up from the midfield roll. Now here comes Ginther, looking for some space. Stein set up along the line. Ginther plays it right into the defender, but still manages to find a little bit of green. And once again, it's that final pass not quite there for Kansas City. Palacio going to go a little bit longer this time with it. Intercepted in the end. Stein tried to put a foot into it. This one going to stay in on the roll. A lot of English on that one, so to speak. Here comes McGarry. McGarry left foot. Not sure if that was a shot or a pass, kind of in between both. Now Farkas trying to chase this one down. She will actually get to it, trying to slice it back into the middle, poked away, and that one will roll out. FC Kansas City going to put a substitute in. It's going to be Sophia Stram coming in. And Amanda Sullivan out. Towards the edge of the 18, pushed back out too strong for FC Kansas City to really deal with. Everything's been kind of pushed towards the outside here in the last few minutes. It looks like it'll be Jessie Brown coming in for Brienne Severns. As Coach Ristov trying to change things up a little bit, trying to find those right combinations that are going to lead to a little bit of magic in the offensive end. Good 50-50 ball there. Serepka got the worst of it. Here comes Farkas with Deaver making a run as well. Farkas looking to take it herself, drops it off for Ginther. Ginther going for that back post, just wide. It was a good save made. Nobody there to collect the rebound. Looked like it was going to curl wide, but still a good decision to parry that one away and make sure. Now Carolina trying to find an answer as FC Kansas City seems to have found a little bit of their own offensive flow in this one. Coming in now is Adams, looking to take on the defender. Instead poked away, and now here's Groom. Groom, the most recent substitute to come in. Wildly kind of sticks a leg out at that one. Now here's Deaver. And now we get the hydration break as we've hit 22 minutes and 40 seconds played, or thereabouts. So the substitute will have to wait. 0-0 your score between FC Kansas City and CR Academy Carolina Rapids. So we've seen some pretty good soccer here from both sides. I think they're finally starting to kind of settle into this one and figure out what they need to do to both conserve a little bit of energy and also put their best foot forward, because there was a lot of energy being expended. Perhaps uselessly is not necessarily the right word, but just kind of aimlessly, I suppose, is a better choice of phrase. Because both sides were just kind of lobbing balls forward and chucking themselves into the attack and really coming up with nothing to show for it. And if you're not going to get good chances out of that kind of effort, you really need to kind of conserve it in this kind of weather. Coach Ristov and Williams imploring their knowledge out on their players right here as they have a little bit of an extended break. Taking a quick look at the live action that's going on. Our other game over on Field 4, which you can also check out on YouTube. Keep it right here and maybe just keep a side eye on perhaps a tablet or such between Beach FC and Elite Girls Academy. That one is also 0-0. Both games have kicked off right around the same time. So it's going to be a substitute coming in. It'll be Alexis Mitchell taking over for Abigail Groom. I had misspoken earlier that Groom was not the substitute. Obviously, she was the girl to come out in this particular substitute, but earlier it was Jessie Brown that had actually checked in. Ginther with the centering ball, and that will gain her team a corner kick. And again, if you're FC Kansas City, you don't want to throw caution to the wind, but no pun intended, you do want to use the wind when it's in your advantage. Again, it's kind of altering direction in terms of whether it's coming towards the camera or away, but it has been basically left to right all day. So that definitely favoring FC Kansas City right now. But they have failed to really take advantage as Brown continues it on to Farkas. The return pass finds its mark. Now on for Mann. There's another substitute about to check in. Ginther going for it, but instead it's once again claimed by Carolina. Kansas City able to make a steal. Trying to slip it through to Farkas. Wasn't quite on. Serepka gets it over to the far side. Serepka making the run, and instead Carolina goes in retreat. And here's McGarry. All the way back, and then filtered through to Givens here on the near side. Too direct there as they tried to get it over the top to Knoll. Mitchell couldn't quite keep that one in. As now the pass is starting to form for Carolina. Up the far hand side, Adams right into the defender, keeping it alive at least for the moment. Von Klaar lobbing one. Kind of in between now, but off to the races goes Nina Stein. Trying to track her down as Givens. Stein trying to wrestle it away. Keep on pushing, and now she takes a bump. No foul coming. Not too much in the way of complaints either from the FC Kansas City bench. As Von Klaar will slow it down. This one's cleared away. It's Carolina starting to push. It seems like every time one of these two teams presses forward and gets something going on the attack, they are answered pretty quickly. So it'll be interesting to see if one ever crosses the goal line, whether or not we'll get a quick answer there as well. We get another delayed whistle. It's the attack never really formulated. '30th minute here in the first half. A substitute will be made now for FC Kansas City. This coming out is going to be Stein. And into the game for the first time is Sidney Ewing. Coach Karazdov was looking for a quicker restart, but can't be too upset with how far upfield they are right now. Mitchell was making the run, but they couldn't quite get it onto her. Now here's Ginther! And the goalkeeper got there just a split second beforehand. FC Kansas City trying to put on a little bit of pressure here. Rapids looking to counter, as they have managed to do just about every time FC Kansas City comes close. Here comes Sarepka. Guarded closely by Small. Sarepka putting on the moves, getting it into the box, left-footed shot. Safely wide in the end. Kind of scraped across the 6-yard box, but not much more. 33rd minute of play, scoreless here in the first half between FC Kansas City Forte and CR Academy Carolina Rapids. Taken down by McGarry. And now Givens. Bonclar takes it in the middle of the center circle. Bonclar again. Pushing upfield. Carolina looking for a little bit of space. It's been a precious commodity here in just about all of our games. Despite the end scores, the volley, it takes a serendipitous bounce for FC Kansas City. As that one ended up falling right into the path of Palacio. It could have gone any number of directions. The initial shot taken by Naomi Powell, she didn't quite get the strike on it that she would have liked. Instead, it's Mitchell heading the other way for Kansas City. Working it up the near hand side. Ultimately dropped back. Now it's Stram for Sullivan. Filtered through to the far hand side. Brown looking for options. Has to go in retreat. Not the best of options, but at least FC Kansas City will stay in possession. Good pressure being put on by Carolina, although in a defensive effort. And sometimes that takes a little more energy out of you. Chasing the ball, especially when you don't come up with it. Mitchell able to continue it on, gets the return pass from Brown. Tried to slide one through, but that one was kind of in between both Deaver and Farkas, and it ends up going out. Kept alive now by McGarry as she was able to spin away from pressure. Streaking up the near wing is Givens, and she had it taken away as Stram sends it up. A miscue on the pass, though, from Ewing. Here's Givens again. That was actually Sarepka with pressure right on her back. Man was right in her back pocket. Brown stepped up and took that one away. Farkas was trying to get over there. Coming into the game now for Colorado is going to be Tori Paul. So a later substitution now. It's FC Kansas City also going to make a change when they get a chance. Out of the game for the Rapids is Emery Knoll. She put in a pretty good first half. But as could be said for everybody, just unable to find that final touch, that final pass, that last ball that's going to result in that bit of magic. This one slides on through, trying to pressure into a mistake. Unsuccessful, though, as Ewing couldn't get the hold of the ball. Almost a steal there on the second attempt. The recently inserted Paul lobbing one forward. Flag goes up, offside against Faith Adams.
Riley, you can't stop, Riley. That's your player, come on. Riley, if she runs past you, can you sprint, please? Make it look like you're trying to defend. You're trying to fool me, maybe. Yeah, drop back in a little.
No substitution made. Coming out for FC Kansas City was Lauren Fisher. Now here comes Sarepka. Looking for Adams, far side. Plays her into space, but a little too far away from the attack. Here's a cross, and that's not going to trouble Palacio. Nicely weighted ball through for Ewing. She comes up the wing, but real estate getting her rather thin. Slid through for Deaver. She's going to get there first. Plays it back across. The keeper might have gotten a piece of it as well. So the attack peters out.
Riley, that's going to happen, right? Because she's working harder than you.
Ewing
Just throwing you 10 yards across the
peels
field.
it back. And again, at this time right into the heart of the defense.
Danny, drop in. Now go.
Back through the midfield. Mitchell stumbles a little bit, has to send it on for Small. And she has a bit of a mental mistake there. A ball in through for Paul. Getting there first, though, was Stram. Paul able to steal it back. A third attempt. Finally just hammered away. Deaver settles it down. Calling out for Ewing to make the run, but then the pass never came. Back through the midfield. FC Kansas City trying to build it up as Mann sends it onto the wing. Back for Mann. Instead now Deaver. Left-footed shot. She was leaning back a little too far, and that couldn't allow her to get any kind of curl on that one. Coming into the game now will be Maylee Dudan. Now out will be Leah Whistle. How apropos that we get a whistle from the crowd right as Whistle comes in. High up into the air, Ginther able to win that one. Taken down by Ewing. Deaver. Ginther again. And now Stram trying to go to the corner flag. Ewing peels it back from the end line. Goes even deeper. Swings one across. A good header and an even better save. Rebound still loose and it'll roll wide. Corner kick coming, no. Corner kick somewhat wasted there as it just ends up onto the top netting. We've played just about 41 minutes, so a little under 4 left here in the first half, plus any additional time added on. Headed back into the path of Ginther. She was trying to get it over to Farkas. It does end up with its intended target. No, not in the space that it was intended to. Deaver diving after that one, but ultimately cleared away by Tillett. Back towards the danger area. Diving stop, but not coming away with possession. Ball bounding back and forth and then cleared away. Mann sends it to Ewing on the near side. She's going to go inside, then passes back out. Ginther cutting it towards the end line. It's a foot race now and a battle for position. It will eventually go out. No, they're actually going to call the foul. Carolina Rapids have not been in the attacking third for probably a good 5 to 10 minutes. It's been a little bit bare for them. They did have that one good opportunity with Tori Paul getting it all the way up towards the attack, but then that kind of sputtered out. And now we're going to get a potentially dangerous free kick. We've seen girls this age put them in from this distance. I remember covering a NAIA women's college final, and probably from a good 35, 40 yards out, the ball was put in. And with this kind of wind, although it's died down a little bit, Ginther could go for it. Instead, going to try to serve it in. Dealt with by the defender. Bicycle attempt was not necessarily on par there. You applaud the effort, though. As that was Abigail Small going for the bike. This one coming in. Rebound loose, but it will not go. FC Kansas City really finding their offensive foot here in the late stages. So we're in the final minute of regulation. Haven't had any indication of any additional time. And Grubb blasts one over to the far side. Good little feint there from Farkas, but she's eventually muscled off as the two number counterparts do battle. will be one additional minute added on here, so you have to figure that was for the hydration break. As we have now reached the end of regulation, so just about 60 seconds left before we head off to the halftime. Chance here just before we get to the break. FC Kansas City trying to creep in. Stram cutting it back inside. They were looking for Ginther. Ewing gets a head onto it as a shoulder flashed in. They look for Paul. She's able to throw Grubb off just a bit. And now we get a whistle. And the referee has seen enough time elapse. 45 minutes plus a little extra in the books. Nothing decided yet here in this U19-20 girls group action, Group A, between FC Kansas City, Forte Elite, and Carolina Rapids Academy. I will take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have the second act of action. More on Turbo Sports in just a bit.
The road starts here. The road paved by pain, sacrifice, and struggle. The road paved by passion and pursuit. The road where dreams come true. On this road, many will fail, and on this road, many dreams will fade. But as for you, what will be your fate? When there are seconds left and you are running on fumes, will you be satisfied with almost? Or will you dig down into the dirt, take one more step and make one more play, knowing that good enough isn't good enough? And all the blood, sweat, and tears have brought you to this moment, the moment where pain turns to greatness. On this road, nothing is given. Everything is taken. On this road, winners will rise to the top. Heroes will be made. And on this road, champions will be crowned.
It was 1935, the year that Elvis and Sandy Koufax were born. It was a year of many firsts, including the first NFL draft, the first Monopoly board game went on sale, Social Security began, and Babe Ruth hit his last home run. In addition to these milestones, the National Junior Challenge Cup was founded in 1935. Offering a youth competition for young men in the United States. The cup was later named the James P. McGuire Cup, after the late U.S. soccer president, who himself was quite a standout in his earlier days, winning the U.S. Open Cup in 1929. McGuire would lead U.S. soccer and earn an international reputation as an excellent leader.
The Jim McGuire Cup was started in 1935. It was the only cup that the United States Soccer Federation had for youth players. And it was a very good competition, and I can tell you, I mean, this was the highlight of my soccer career to be a champion in 1954.
This storied cup, now the oldest trophy in youth sport.
It has a history, it has a meaning, I think it has tradition. So I think it's extremely important for our competitions, for all the age groups that kind of emulate the McGuire Cup.
Winning the McGuire Cup is huge, just because all that history that comes along with the oldest trophy in youth sports period, that's really big for us.
who will write their name in the next chapter of the storied McGuire Cup.
And welcome back to Frisco, Texas, as we are just about set. And now we have started the second half. We have a change in officials, though, as there's been kind of a swap going on. The center official was, as we came back from the break, he was down inside the officials' tent and seems to be overcome by the heat, and understandably so, as it's warmed up quite a bit, even with the breeze going pretty well. So you would have to figure that his day is done, and there was kind of a alteration in the officials going on here. So we've had a swap of ARs. The near side AR number 1, has taken over as the center official. And as after that, it's hard to tell what's going on, because it appeared as though we were going to have a changing of fourth officials as well, because the fourth official had become the near side AR, but instead he has become the fourth official again. But there is still an extra official underneath the tent, but all that has been kind of sorted out by themselves, as here's Farkas on the ball for FC Kansas City, wanting to take on the defender, and she's going to take it all the way towards the corner flag, cuts it back just a bit, sends a nice ball across. Not too much anybody could do with that, as Ewing got a foot to it, but the defender was equal to the task. So we continue to change things up with the officials. Obviously, they were trying to get whoever they could in terms of whoever was nearest. But the near side AR has been changed again. Clearly, they're trying to keep certain squads together. FC Kansas City starting things off much the way they ended the first half, with a decent amount of control. Nothing to show for it yet, and Carolina Rapids are just one strike away from potentially taking the lead in this one, as there's a foul away from the play. And Stein called for the offense, and it looks like the player shaken up was Madison Horacion. He's kind of grabbing at her right shin. So Horacion will stay in the game as she tries to kind of shake this off. She's still limping just a little bit. She tries to get her leg to kind of work itself out. It almost looked like it might have been somewhat of a turf burn, which obviously doesn't make much sense playing on grass, but given the dry nature of everything, and sometimes the legs just kind of seize up or whatever when you kind of rake them across the ground in such a manner. And she did go down in somewhat of a awkward spot, as there has been a goalkeeping change for FC Kansas City. Coming into the game is Afton Fenwald. Now an opportunity here for Ewing, as she curled her run very nicely. Bumped into from behind, but the officials saw nothing in it, much to the displeasure of the Kansas City fans on the far side. A flag goes up and an offside call pretty early into the half here. from the far hand side, Small up the wing. Brown continued on for Groom, who's been reinserted in this half. Mitchell trying to stick a leg in. Now McGarry lobs one up over the far hand side, trying to chase it down is Tillett. Unsuccessful in doing so, though. Now charging in, a good strike towards goal, but it ends up well wide in the end. High up into the air, and that's what I was talking about during the first half, that FC Kansas City didn't necessarily do a good enough job of taking advantage of the wind. And now they're going into it. Stein, and she tries to keep it a little bit lower to the ground. Too strong there. And again, back and forth we go.
As soon as Jen gets it, you've got to go, right? Don't walk.
Fisher. Intercepted by Paul. She looks for a little bit of space. Stein with Green in front, trying the early cross. Farkas knocks it down. Farkas on the left. Farkas with the centering ball. I think she was actually trying to blast that one off the defender, but she was ready for just such an occasion. Sent up by Whistle, who has stayed in, coming in as that late second half sub. Now here comes Farkas with Ewing going in towards the box, and there's way too much on that pass. Sent up into the fray by McGarry. Givens on through. Curling the run was Sarepka. First save was made. Sarepka again denied. And a third time, this time by the defenders. And again, the defenders getting in front. FC Kansas City breathes a sigh of relief, but the danger is not quite over yet. Finally, safely into the hands of Finnewald. This one gets on through. Stein cutting in towards the middle. Pressure coming in from behind. Puts on the brakes. And then just kind of an aimless pass in towards the middle. Very hopeful. Now here comes Sarepka. Chasing it down just before it gets into the corner. Taking on the defenders. Sarepka with the centering ball, and again, these two teams seem to kind of match each other like for like every time, whether it's offensive chances, missed chances, poor passes in this particular instance, or even substitutions every now and then. Very much mirror images right now. McGarry getting around two defenders. Space ran out. Not sure what the idea was there for Groom as she kind of stole it from her teammate Sullivan. It ends up working out as they retain possession. Here comes FC Kansas City, looking to get into an attacking area, still kind of in the midfield. Man slid it through to Mitchell. She's going to go for goal. That was rather ambitious. So Stapleton hasn't been troubled too often here. She's going to get it played back to her again. But she's been solid to the task, but she gives it away here. And to the wrong person, Farkas. Tried to get it onto that right foot, but took it way too far in. Needed to either unleash that one or try to get around the defender. She just ended up using all the real estate available to her. Whistle will come up. The right hand said 3 additional minutes. At the very least 2. Serepka had it poked away from behind, but she will get a corner kick. So Carolina trying to win this one in the last 10 minutes or so.